Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the online computer session. In this class, I will explain you fundamentals of operating system, which is chapter number 2. It begins from page number 37. Starting with the definition of operating system is a collection of system software that controls the overall functionality of a system. It provides user an interface through which we can communicate to the hardware device. Without an operating system, user cannot perform any single task on the computer system. Operating system performs major and several functions to run the system efficiently. It allows user to use the resources in a better way. Here is a list of functions that are performed by the operating system. Number one is process management. Process is a program in execution. Whatever is run by the user, it will become a program for the computer and it will take the required resources. Here I have mentioned the example of a game Grand Theft Auto, which is a program for a computer. It will need all the resources for the execution, like the resources are memory, Windows, processor, hard disk, audio, video cards, which are required for this program so that it can be run. Next is memory management. Programs need space in memory. It is the job of an operating system to provide a free space to a program in a main memory. And whenever the program will be closed, operating system will also free that memory portion for reuse. In this example, user is running multiple programs at the same time like Facebook, YouTube, or this Instagram. These applications or programs are taking space, or these space is reserved for these programs. And when the user is going to close any of the program, operating system will free that memory portion. All the devices which are connected to the computer are controlled by the operating system. User communicates to a system using various input-output devices. So operating system uses input-output controller for managing all these input-output devices. User saves his data in the form of files or folders. A file can be a text, it can be in the form of document, audio, video, or an image file. Operating system allows us to perform several operations on these files, like we can cut, copy, paste, we can move, delete files. These are the common operations which can be performed on a file. When any program is executed by the user, it will need resources to run properly. Resources can be in the form of software or hardware. In this example, if the user is running multiple programs at the same time, these both programs will require different resources to work. Like this is a Word document, the resources for this program will be different, like it will require keyboard, printer, or maybe memory, of course. Then if we talk about this program YouTube, the resources can be monitor, audio, video files. These are the resources which are required for this program to run. The last and very important feature of an operating system is user management. Operating system gives a full control to a person known as administrator. Administrator has more rights than a simple user. Administrator can install various programs. Administrator is able to create and manage different accounts for the user. And user can only use the installed programs, or a user can save his personal data in the form of files and folder. A user cannot create further accounts. On the basis of way of interaction, operating system is classified into three major interfaces. These are command line interface, menu driven interface, and the last is graphical user interface. Number one is command line interface. Command line interface has further two categories. These are disk operating system and Unix. Command line interface is based on textual input, which means that user has to type all the commands and then press enter key to execute these commands. It is difficult to use because a user cannot remember each and every syntax properly. If there is an error in any syntax, it will never work. DOS, or a disk operating system, is a command line interface. It shows this prompt to user for taking input. DOS is difficult to learn and use because In this, user has to learn and remember each and every syntax properly to give the input to the computer system. It is a single user and single task operating system, which is a major drawback of it. It means that only single user can use it. It can run on the microcomputers only, and it can perform a single task at the same time. These are some of the examples which are mentioned in your book. Number one is dir. Dir means to display the content of the directory. Format D. This command means to format the D drive. It will erase all the data which is present in this D drive. And the last is cd/fix. Cd means change the directory and makes the fix current directory. Command prompt is a CLI. It is a CLI interface. It is available in Windows. Here I am showing you the practical implementation of DOS commands. Like here, if I am writing dir, which is display the directory. See, here I have written the dir. Now it is showing you the directories and all the files and folders which are present inside it. Let's try another DOS command. If I am writing here, okay, I have written here a command date, and this is showing the result. What happens if I am writing incorrect syntax? See, this is showing a error. It will not work if there is a error in the syntax. Unix is also a command line interface, but it is a multi-user interface. It was introduced in 1969. DOS was a single-user operating system, and Unix is a multi-user operating system, which means that more than one user or many users can use this mainframe computer at the same time using this Unix operating system. The second type of interface is menu-driven interface. It also has two types, Novels Network and ProDOS. This interface is comparatively easy to use. In menu-driven interface, user doesn't need to learn the commands. Menu will appear on the screen and user will select any given option, and then another menu will open, and so on. Menus are also available in Windows and in many other applications which are present in mobile phones and in the computer systems also. Novels Network is a menu-driven interface, and the first version of Novels Network was released in 1993, and this is the interface of Novels Network. ProDOS is also a menu-driven interface. It uses an interface which consists of menus, and it was only invented for the Apple computers. This is the interface of a ProDOS operating system. The third type of interface is graphical user interface. It has three types: Macintosh operating system, Linux operating system, and Windows operating system. Visual interaction makes graphical user interface easy to use. It provides a user-friendly environment to the user. It is also known as WIMP. What is WIMP in graphical user interface? W stands for the Windows. Windows is the rectangular portion of your monitor screen to display the information. I stands for icons. Icons are the small graphical representation of files, folders, or programs. M stands for the menus which are available in the graphical user interface. And P stands for the pointers which are controlled by the pointing devices in a graphical user interface. Now coming toward the advantages of graphical user interface, the most important advantage of graphical user interface is that it is easier to use. In this interface, user doesn't need to learn or type the commands. In the graphical user interface, a user can run multiple programs at the same time. And once the user is familiar with any type of interface of any application, then a user can easily use many other applications because of same interfaces. Because in the graphical user interface there are so many graphics which has to be processed by the operating system, so it requires a lot of memory and needs a faster computer. Macintosh operating system was introduced by the Apple Incorporation in 1984. It was only developed for the Apple computers. It is a user-friendly operating system, which means that it is easier to use for the users. And the latest version of Macintosh operating system is Mac OS X, which is also displayed over here. This picture is showing the interface of operating system which is used in the iPhone. Linux is also a graphical user interface. It is not commonly used. It was invented for the networking system. Linus Torvald introduced this operating system in 1991. It is an open source operating system, which means that the functionality or the code of Linux operating system is freely available on the internet, and millions of programmers around the world can download the code of Linux operating system and can update it according to their requirement. The last type of operating system is Windows, which is a graphical user interface. It is most commonly used operating system on the microcomputers. It was developed by the Microsoft company, and the latest version of Windows is Windows 10.